Effeminate men no longer corner the market on LGBTQ plus villainy, and LGBTQ plus audiences have grown to appreciate queer and trans evildoers on screen or on the page. A recent thread in the LGBT subreddit was devoted to the best LGBTQ plus villains of all time. And here are some of the baddie users raved about. Him from the Powerpuff Girls. Do you folks remember that?
Yes.
Look at, yeah. He's so gay. Look at that.
I've done that character before.
So gay, so gay. Scar from The Lion King.
Yes.
So evil.
Yes.
See, but it didn't hit me till
Bear,
later,
even though he
though.
was a
It
lion.
didn't hit me till later.
Yeah.
He just that uncle that's just really out there that you know.
That's gay.
That you wasn't sure, but you're like maybe couldn't.
Yeah.
But
Then he lives in a bunch of hyenas in a cage.
Exactly.
By himself.
I was looking for the proof.
Right,
and
no,
there
you got it now.
Yeah.
Right, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. And there it is.
Okay.
Sounds like
There it
me
is.
all of a sudden. I'm
One
like,
that was super apparent to me was Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I mean-
Ursula
Yeah.
is literally based on an actual drag queen. So, I mean, that's the thing that for me, because The Little Mermaid, for me, like, it's right in that age zone, right? For a lot of us.
Yeah.
That finding that out later, it was like soul enriching because I was drawn to this character. I've done that character a few times. I've sang the songs, but when you find out and you actually can look at and you can see the stills of Divine.
I was just gonna say, is it Divine?
Yes, you can
Because of the
literally see the still. They actually have a thing online where they show you some of the photographs of Divine that like actually inspired the design of the character, and it's almost exact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That you realize like, how subversive that was at the time. I mean, this is '89. This is like
I
the
know.
height of AIDS.
Yeah.
I mean, Divine was like at this point like near death. Like this is a major thing that they just slid right there into
Slid
the
right
radar.
in. Slid right
Love
in.
it.
It kind of
But we
legitimizes
know.
the character also.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when the body again, but the body work that Divine had and the impact that Divine had on culture.
Yep.
On
Yeah.
when
But it would have been nice.
And they're
to
like,
get
let's
the
make her a
credit, though.
villain.
It would have been
Yeah.
nice to get.
Well, I would say that too, but at the same time, Divine couldn't have sang the song that same.
Oh no. How about
God rest her soul.
How about Team Rocket from the Pokemon franchise?
Zero interest. I
Yes.
have no idea.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. How about Clay Puppington from Moral Orel?
What is that?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, Moral Oral.
Oh,
Sorry. Moral Oral.
Moral Oral.
Sorry.
That,
Yes.
was, that was your age, girl. That
Sorry,
was
it
your
was
age.
Right.
If anybody's never not
He was
seen,
French.
if anybody's ever not seen Moral Oral, you can actually watch it on HBO Max. It's a very good show that pokes fun at. I don't know if you remember this from the 70s and 80s. There was this claymation Christian kid show called Davy and Goliath.
Yes.
Yes. So Moral Oral literally is like a
Oh, so Moral Orel was a claymation style.
yeah, it's claymation
Oh,
style. It's literally a parody of that show.
got it.
And
Oh
so,
my God.
but the character. Oh man, some of
I
the
love
stuff they
that.
get away with
We
that.
gotta look
That's
that up.
fun.
Yeah.
One user says Catra. Oh, I love
Yes.
from She-Ra.
Oh my God, from
Oh my
She-Ra.
God, yes.
I forgot about her.
That's the perfect answer. I love
But
that.
not only that, but She-Ra itself had a non-binary character. Another lesbian, the claw. I can't think of the name. The person with the claws, the lobster character.
Yep.
I mean, this trend-setting all the way around.
Yeah.
Wait, and
Yeah.
these are confirmed.
Oh yeah.
Queer,
Catra loves She-Ra.
Yeah, and the
Very
thing
much
is-
in a crush.
The thing about She-Ra
Katara,
too,
yeah.
Taro.
She-Ra
Yes.
for me was this new version of She-Ra is actually really interesting because obviously I watch a lot of animation, but this is trickling into all of the Netflix animation because there's a show now based on the Dragon's Age game franchise that literally the emphasis of the show is a lesbian romance. Like that's the point of the show because it's like two women trying to like get through this last mission, go retire off
What's
in
the
the
name
country.
of the show? Do you know?
Dragon Age Absolution.
Oh, I love
it's
that.
called.
I
so
love that.
Oh my
like
gosh.
kisses
The
and like
evolution.
all of that.
What about
love
that?
that.
What is the other Comedy Central one that's like Arch or Archer? Is that,
Archer.
is that, is that,
Archer's
is that,
fantastic.
is that gay too or no?
It has gay
No,
parts.
there's
That's gay
yeah, there's
stuff,
gay
right?
parts.
There's
Yeah,
gay
it's gay
parts, but
stuff.
it's not
Yeah.
gay.
It's not
But She-Ra had all the elements, though. I mean, the gay, the non-binary. The,
Oh, wow.
I mean, the gay-focused love, the love story that was there that you know you kind of watched, but like you rooted for, but you didn't because Catra was bad, but she wasn't. The non-binary character could do with anything and could be anyone. Not only could choose, but just be. That was.
Oh, I
mean,
love that character.
That's why you have so many gay villains, because if you're going to be a villain and not just a bad guy, you have to be able to get away with it.
And
You
look
can't just be
fabulous
bad
while you're doing it.
and look
Look
good
fabulous.
and use
Yeah.
disguises and
Yeah.
play two different characters. So of course they're going to be.
Well,
gay.
and we all know
Sure.
that, because LGBTQ plus, we are what we are. The
Yes.
villains are always going to steer steal the show. We always
Always
remember
the best character.
queer villains. We love queer villains. And rather, let us binge watch these shows this holiday season and celebrate the LGBTQ plus villains of all time. Watch this.
Yes! Well, I love it when you girls fight. I think you should fight more often. Oh, Bubbles, don't cry, little one. I'm here for you.
And he's absolutely right. It's far too dangerous. Only the bravest lions go there.
Well, I'm brave. What's up?
I'm sorry, Simba. I just can't tell you.
Why not?
Simba, I'm only looking out for the well-being of my favorite nephew.
Yeah, right. I'm your only nephew.
All the more reason for me to be protective. An elephant graveyard is no place for a young prince. Oops.
An elephant.
Question number 2 with a Bacardi shot. I'd swallow that. So bad, they're good. These are the best LGBTQ plus villains of all time. Take your shot.
Cheers.
Do you folks have anybody else that you would add to the list? Like I was thinking
Yeah.
Frankfurter, right?
Yes,
Right.
Frankenfurter.
What about
Rocky.
Jafar from Aladdin?
Yep.
Jafar from Aladdin,
Oh,
for
Hundo
sure.
P.
For sure.
What's really funny is that I think that our culture now has changed the narrative on that, because there was actually a documentary called Queer Coded that's talking about a little bit about this, and at the time it was a negative, right? At the time, because at that time queer people were negative, and only because of time and evolution of culture did people now look at it and say, oh my God, these are the most fabulous characters in the entire thing. This is actually great.
But do you
Yes.
think it's still queer coding? Because these characters that we describe as villains in these movies, they're alone, they're eccentric, they have accents. They have,
I think-
you know, like,
yeah, I
so
was,
why
I
do we
was just thinking that,
automatically
and I was
think
thinking like
they're
the
queer?
Grinch. I was like, is the Grinch
Yeah.
a homo? Because he should be.
I mean, think
Right,
about he's
Jim
like,
Carrey
he's
with
like
the dog hanging out with the dog all the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Think about like the thing that we showed on the last broadcast, right? When he talks about his day, right? Talking about all of his appointments he has to do. Literally, that's not very
me.
hetero.
That's me with my calendar. What are you talking about?
But the thing is that makes this so funny is that
Exactly.
this has like always been my biggest gripe about queer culture, right? Is that when we go backwards in time, the queer individuals in society were the eccentrics, were the artful,
Yeah.
people, were like that was them. And so when you have these characters that are based on those, at first you're like, that's weird, but then you realize, wait, that is how we used
That's
to be,
us. Yeah.
right? It wasn't our job, and we weren't desired to fit in with society. It was, we're just going to be ourselves,
Yeah.
and we still have it, thankfully now. But like,
we
it
do.
is that thing now where people don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
They want to fit in as much as possible.
And people secretly root for those characters. And
right.
then so they now digest them very differently. They see them, although they may be all that eccentric, they may be all of that, but they secretly love them and they identify with that person.
Yeah.
And then I think what that does is now open up the queer culture, that it's not all with the people who want it to be the pedophiles and all that craziness that they make it out to be. That's what,
Like-
that, my
Yeah,
uncle lives,
terrible.
that's my uncle. And I love my uncle. And he lives with a bunch of men. And I didn't realize it, but oh.
Exactly.
But all
Wait, can I say
villains.
one more?
Please.
Gaston.
Gaston for
Yeah.
sure.
Bro.
We have to
He
add
can
Gaston to
get it.
that. I also wanted to add.
No, but
I
his
also wanted to
bestie.
add Maleficent. Maleficent.
Oh,
to
yeah.
that
Oh,
list.
yes.
Yeah.
And the Joker.
You gotta add the
I think the
Joker.
Joker as
I think
well.
the
Even
Joker
with-
is so
even with heart-
pansexual. Absolutely, all yes, all day, every day.
Yeah,
All day,
yeah,
every
yeah,
day.
yeah.
My
I'll be
favorite
able-
animated, so this is not a villain, but this is the funniest thing. So within like the animation community, the funniest one of all of them is Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Oh my
So
God.
for people that don't watch that show, there is a particular episode where Bob essentially comes out as bi, right? It is the smallest snippet, but then after that show, little bits start coming out of all these things. Like he made a line about like the worst things happen in bathrooms, things like that. Like very much telling. And like the Bob's Burgers community, like they think it's amazing. You would think it's the opposite,
Yeah.
but they actually think it's amazing because here's this character that on the surface just seems like your average, everyday American dad. And then that one episode shifted everything. And so people went back and they watched the show again and they're like, wait, is this why Bob has this really unusual relationship with Marshmallow, who's a trans person who's like a key part of this show? And it's changed the whole thing. And I think that that's part of that subversive again. It's like, you don't have to necessarily be a villain or a hero or anything like that. It's just being yourself.
Yeah, you don't have to fit the box.
You have to fit the
Yeah.
box.
Do we
Yes.
think that Cruella is a lesbian?
Yes.
I could see that.
Yeah, you can see
I could
that.
do that.
We can
Her
see, honestly,
and
we can
those
turn
dogs.
everyone.
No, right? We want to turn everybody gay. All right.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.